and I want to share a few things with you that if you are emerging into a leadership position, if you're in one already, or if it's a goal that you have, it'll be maybe some handles put on some stuff that makes it easier to carry around. And ultimately, I want to let you know, man, that you're not alone. You're not on this journey out there all by yourself. There's a lot of other people around you, and those who've come before us, and those who will come in after us. And this is all gonna kind of break into this thing. And I don't care what your title as a leader is, whether it is just a leader, right? Whether it's team leader, whether it's director, supervisor, manager, whether you're in the civilian workplace, whether you're in the military. Ultimately, as far as I can tell, there's absolutely no difference just based off of a title. If you are a leader, you are in a position that an organization has placed you in to do a couple things. And so that means ultimately that we need to try to define what those things are. And before you can do that, you have to kind of realize, how are you going to get after your business? I've met a lot of folks who are task managers. They're really good at giving directives, exploiting time and space to get a job done, regardless of the risk or regardless of what it did to a team. But I think ultimately, if we don't define what leadership is, then we're going to fall. Conversely, if we can define it, and if we can, more importantly, live it, we can be set up for success. And maybe you've heard this definition of leadership before. Maybe you haven't. And you can say it a dozen ways, but this is a way. Provide purpose, direction, and motivation to accomplish the mission and improve the organization. Now, too many times, people who try to define leadership get stuck on two different axes, if you will. On one axis, you have accomplishing the mission. And this is, again, where those task managers like to sit, they ride, they fall, and they will die on it. And I have met and worked for some brilliant people who are all about the mission, that were all about the task. Some of them were okay, but the majority of them were horrible. Horrible. On the opposite side of the spectrum, you have those who only want to take care of those who are in their charge. So instead of being a leader, they be a buddy. And they're constantly looking out for their people. Overlooking mistakes, disregarding non-conforming conditions, giving excess time off, promotions, advances, raises. Ultimately, because they're concerned about what that subordinate may say. The other style of leadership doesn't care. But this style deeply cares about how they are viewed. After all, they're probably in a position where if somebody said something that was negative, some form of complaint, could cost them their job, could cost them some money. So they're constantly concerned about what others may be saying about them. Now, contrary to common understanding, these two sides are not working against each other. Conversely, I would submit to you that it's like our breathing. Our breathing is one element, right? It's breathing. But it's composed of two movements. You breathe in and you breathe out. If all you do is one, you will perish. If you only inhale but never exhale, you will not make it more than a couple minutes. And that's like if you're a good swimmer. Conversely, if all you do is inhale and you never exhale, again, it's going to be the same thing. You have to do both or you will die. Leadership is very much a principle that is similar to our breathing. You have to do both or you are not going to succeed. You have to take care of those who are in your charge, and you have to accomplish the mission. And it's never going to be as easy, as self-obvious as our breathing. You can go to sleep and your body's still going to breathe, right? Leadership is something that we have to work on every single day. We have to become students and masters of the organization that we work for, understanding their ultimate task and purpose, all the way down to the intricate details of our tasks at hand. And we have to become masters of the human dimension, because that is the only way that I can influence others, by providing that purpose, direction, and motivation. That doesn't cost more than what I'm willing to pay. The back end of that definition of leadership is about improving the organization. And I think, to me, this kind of speaks of a way of being a servant. Again, regardless of what echelon of leadership that you are in, you are a servant. And it can become extremely hard for people in elevated positions of leadership to really see themselves as that servant leader, because it can become too easy to simply demand others do it your way. You'll hear and see this when folks say things like, just do it my way, or it's my way or the highway, or I just should have done it myself. If you'd have just done it my way, everything would be to standard. This sort of mentality ultimately is rooted in egotism and pride. And so we have a decision to make. Do we want to be hypocrites? Or do we want to live in alignment with what we proclaim our values are? Which means that we need to know ourselves and seek self-improvement. How can we do this? Again, do it by becoming masters of both sides of the spectrum of leadership, which was really just one spectrum of leadership. Living with honesty and having a sense of humility about us. And maybe just as important, having people around you that you can speak with and speak to. Sometimes it's going to be our peers that we can close some doors and chit-chat. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you will have a senior that you work for that you can have some good, hard, honest conversations with. I have in the past. But a lot of times, the people that are in our lives like this, and many folks may call them mentors, will be outside of our organization in some other community group that we are a part of. But it's important to have, because it's going to rain. It's going to get muddy. You're going to sweat. You're going to hate life. You're going to hate your job. You're going to hate the people that you're working for. You're going to hate the people that you're working with. You're going to hate what you're doing. And I'm not suggesting that regardless of what you endure, that you continue to endure it. But there could be a sense that ultimately what is wrong is not the externals, it is the internal. So having others that we can chit-chat with, that can speak into our lives, that we're receptive to, is hugely important. Maybe you're feeling like you're going at this alone again, like team, like we talked about in the beginning, you're not. There are countless others around you who are doing everything that they can to live what is right. But it can become too easy to look above you, because I'm talking about those people as well, the people that we work for. It become too easy to look at them through this shade of judgment that says that they suck, that if they just did it my way, if they just listened to me and my good ideas, that I would enjoy my job. It can become too easy to look off to the left and to the right and see people who are not living and working to standard and say, well, if they are not, then I don't have to. I can get on and get by with half-assing everything that I do because I'm still going to get a paycheck. So what does it matter? What matters is that you are defining who you are in your actions and in your inaction. So define your why and continue to do that. Understand the values that you hold true and then live them. The moment that you don't do that, the moment that you don't live what you proclaim you believe, is the moment that we become hypocrites. Now, we're all going to stumble. We're all going to have hard days. We're all going to make poor decisions. So it is now, it is today that you have to decide that. What are you going to do? How are you going to live? And then go out and do it. And if you stumble, it's okay. If you get beat down, get the hell back up and get back in the ring. Get back in the fight. And you know what's going to happen next? You're going to get beat down again. Because that's what life is, man. It's a series of getting beat up. Life events are going to happen, whether they're professional or whether they are personal. You're going to have all kinds of crises that you're going to have to live through. So reach out to some folks. Reach it within yourself and reach out to something that is bigger than yourself. And find that motivation and the resilience to carry on. If you need to, team, leave some comments down below. I'll do everything that I can to respond back to every comment. And if you need to talk about some stuff that maybe shouldn't be on a public forum, you can always email me at stokermatic@gmail.com. I'm not sitting here trying to say that I'm a mentor or I'm trying to be somebody's mentor. Like that's just not at all. Just know that I'm here if you need it. Team, I appreciate you guys. So until then, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked.